Story 1.
I started delivering pizzas at 16 in my small town on the outskirts of a big city. At first, I helped in the kitchen, cleaned, did whatever needed doing. 2 months in, my boss told me I could cover for the main delivery guy on his days off. I said yes, of course. Then, out of nowhere, he quit. I remember the day clearly. He came back from a delivery, looking completely shaken, traumatized, like he'd seen something he couldn't forget. He stormed into my boss's office. I could hear them arguing for 15 minutes. When he came out, he patted me on the back and said, "Good luck, kid." Then he walked away, and that was the last I ever saw him. I knew there was more to it than just a shitty job, but I didn't think too much of it. At first, for the next couple of weeks, I was the delivery guy. Then, about 2 weeks in, my boss handed me an address in the rural part of town. Houses were a quarter-mile apart, and the sun was setting as I drove. I tried to enjoy the view, 2 minutes tops before I'd get back home. When I pulled up, my gut sank. It was a 2-story house, completely overgrown. The lawn was a mess, weeds everywhere, dead trees looming over the porch. No chairs, no flower pots, no life at all. It felt abandoned. Still, I got out and knocked. The door rattled, then slowly opened. An old lady appeared, at least 70, white hair, missing teeth, tiny, skinny, and her eyes. They froze me in place. She didn't smile, didn't blink, just stared. "Pepperoni pizza, ma'am," I said, trying to sound friendly. "Yes," she croaked, her voice barely audible. I handed her the pizza. She just stared, didn't move, didn't say a word. "Did you come with someone else?" she suddenly asked. I froze. My mind raced. Then I remembered the last delivery guy. No," I said, trying to sound casual. "He quit, weeks ago." She rummaged in her purse for what felt like an eternity. I couldn't see it, but I could tell she was holding something in her right hand. My heart started pounding. Pepper spray? A knife? A gun? Then I noticed a shadow behind her. A man's silhouette appeared, creeping up the porch. At the same time, I heard footsteps in the leaves to my left, and a deep, angry voice muttering, "Hey!" It hit me. That was enough. I bolted. I threw the pizza in my car, jumped in, and floored it. I didn't look back. My heart was racing, but I was alive. Yeah, I had to pay for the pizza out of my own pocket, but it was worth it. When I finally quit, I told my boss what happened. He freaked out. He called the cops immediately. 2 days later, they confirmed something horrifying. The house had been foreclosed for over a year, and when they broke in, they found 3 people living there. The old lady and 2 men. All 3 were arrested. I still get chills thinking about it. I don't know what would have happened if I'd stayed a second longer. They could have easily jumped me. But somehow, I got out alive.
Story 2.
I'll never forget the night I was covering my friend's shift at the pizzeria. He was the delivery guy. I usually ran the register, but that night, I was on deliveries. The first 2 stops were normal, easy, simple. But then my manager handed me one final delivery, 5 miles out, to some town I'd never even heard of. The GPS took me off the highway, down dead, quiet streets. Half the streetlights didn't work. The place gave me the kind of vibe that makes your skin crawl. I just wanted to drop off the pizza and get out. When I pulled up, the house was small, single story, nothing remarkable. I rang the bell. The door swung open almost immediately. An older man appeared, maybe in his late 50s, gray hair, pale skin, a thin mustache. He smiled at me and said, "I'll be right back." Then he disappeared into the house. I stood there freezing, the cold creeping into my bones. Minutes felt like hours. Then he returned, smiling wider this time. "Come inside. It's warmer," he said. I knew I shouldn't, but the cold was brutal. Foolishly, I stepped inside. The warmth? Non-existent. The house was just as dead as the street. My gut screamed at me to leave, but I kept inching toward the door, trying not to show my fear. Then he appeared again, grinning, opening a door to the basement. "I keep my money down here," he said. "Come with me." I froze. Pitch black darkness swallowed the stairs. I refused, but then I heard it, another creaking step from the basement. Somebody else was down there. Panic hit. I turned to leave, but he was already on top of me. I punched, wrestled, managed to get him in a hold, until I heard more stomping up the stairs. I knew I had to get out. I shoved him to the floor, bolted outside, jumped in my car, and floored it. Didn't look back. My heart was pounding, my hands shaking. I told my manager everything. He called the cops. They investigated. I never found out exactly what was going on, but I did get a few days off, and a lesson I'll never forget. Never, ever step inside a stranger's house.
Story 3.
One late night, I was out making deliveries for the pizzeria I worked at. My last stop was the longest drive I'd ever taken, about 20 minutes out into the middle of nowhere. They'd ordered 4 large pizzas, so I expected a big tip. But what I got instead was a nightmare. The GPS led me down a maze of dirt roads, deeper and deeper into a forest I'd never seen before. No lights, no cars, nothing. Just dead silence. My unease was growing, but I pulled up to the address anyway. It was a dilapidated old building, completely alone in a clearing. I called my boss 3 times to double-check the address. It was right. He told me to knock. I couldn't back down. I couldn't risk bringing back 4 pizzas. I got out, heart pounding, and rapped on the door. Nothing. Then, rustling from inside. I knocked again and shouted, "Pizza delivery!" Silence. That's when I saw it. A pair of eyes at the window, wide, staring at me. I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman, only those piercing, unblinking eyes. My stomach dropped. Panicked, I dropped the pizzas and ran back to my car. Of course, it wouldn't start until the 3rd try. I drove off, but something felt wrong. The car started shaking violently. I hadn't gone far before I heard a scraping sound. I slammed the brakes. Tires, every single one, had been slashed. Someone had done it while I was knocking on the door. My blood ran cold. I locked the doors, hiding in the car, dialing 911. The operator told me to stay put, keep the doors locked, and wait for the cops. I tried to stay calm, but I could barely breathe. Then it happened. I glanced in the rearview mirror. The same eyes. The same woman I had seen at the window, now standing behind my car. Her lips curved into a slow, eerie smile. I didn't think. I jumped out and sprinted into the woods, branches whipping my face, heart pounding, lungs burning. I hid behind a fallen log, listening, shaking, praying. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. I had no idea. Finally, sirens. Red and blue lights cutting through the darkness. I ran toward them, collapsing in relief. The officers approached, and I spilled everything. They went to check the building. They found nothing, except spiky objects, the same kind used to slash my tires. The cops suspected some sick, deranged couple, but they were never caught. I quit that job immediately. I started working at a grocery store after that, and even now I can't forget those wide, unblinking eyes, or the smile that followed me through the rearview mirror that night.
Please, don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, the darkness is always surrounding us, just waiting for a chance. Thanks for watched. See you next story.